All right, well, welcome to CB Performance Coaching. This is session 4. Super excited to have you. So a couple of bits and pieces here. So how many of you have been in coaching, and how many of you are new to it? Anybody brand new, just wave your hand. We can see you all. All right, there's one. Oh, well, there's a bunch of people that we don't have. So for those of you that we can't see you, let's see, Angie, Jamie, Karen, Kristen, Jay, Pam, Lee. Holy smokes, we got a bunch of them. All right. Obviously with the exception of those on the telephone, you can click. You just have to, where it has a little video camera, you've got to click on the video camera to turn your video camera on so that we can actually see you. Angie, are you with us? Oh, there she is. All right, beautiful.
You can't see me, Todd? I can see me.
You can see you? I can see you. Did I say you? No, I think this is probably Pam Colesworthy would be my guess. There's more than one Pam. You're not the only Pam here, right? There's a Pam B and a Pam C.
Well, it's B, so I'm first in line.
Yeah, well, yeah, you came up that way. All right, so anyway, so Zoom obviously is how we do this. So the performance coaching is, again, each time we do it is a little bit different. The goal here, folks, is really simple, right? Like, as far as we're concerned, you are in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. We are your partner. We want to be your partner. Amongst all of the other pieces of value that we bring to the table, we believe strongly that coaching and skill building and all of those things are things that are great for your partner to bring to you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that value. I'm not going to bore you with all the numbers. You all have heard the numbers before. The bottom line is those people who, again, engage in coaching, they make more money. Okay, period, end of story. The ones that don't make more money have a different lifestyle. Like, it's awesome to watch. I can't honestly give it to you just in numbers. I can tell you that when it comes to those people who are coached directly by me, in the last session, it was a 51% increase year over year in their gross commission income. So the money that they made. The ones that were coached directly by their local managers, it was anywhere between 300 and 500% year over year. So fantastic results. This session 4, we're doing things a little bit differently, and it's not a big deal. We're gonna try it. We're gonna do it for this session. We're gonna learn what we did right. We're gonna learn what we didn't do right, and we'll make changes for session 5. Fair enough? So let's kind of get through that. Session 4, as you all know, you're going to have 2 one-on-one calls with your managing director, right? I want to talk just for a second about your managing director, because if you're in Sun Valley, you probably don't like your managing director, which I totally understand. I totally get it. But here's the bottom line. We've spent the last few months, at the very least, right? I mean, these are all very high-level people, very accomplished in coaching and training and leadership, right? But we've spent a great deal of time over the last several months really getting the managing directors and sales managers properly trained and equipped and prepared to be phenomenal coaches for you, right? So this is not like brand new. So that's number 1. Number 2, we're going to do 2 masterminds each month, and that's where I'm going to be more engaged. Most of those are going to be broken up. So like this group will be together in most cases, but not in all cases, because in many cases we're going to have a guest speaker or some kind of an interview with somebody who's really doing great things that applies to all of us. Okay, and in those cases we'll send out a notification. The time block that you're in, that 3 o'clock time block, I think probably means that if we combined them, they'd be at 3 because it's sort of more central. Anyway, so that's good, right? And then of course, when I'm in town, we're going to be way more intentional with making sure that we all get to spend time together, and whether that be in a group or one-on-one setting. All right. So So really what the change that we've made, although I'm not going to be as engaged on the one-on-one level, you're going to get a lot more coaching out of it. Our hope is that you're going to get a lot more success out of it. What we're watching on the Tom Ferry system is that those people that did the 2 coaching per month versus the 4 coaching per month, are the 4 coaching per month are they're making twice as much money, right? They're twice as likely to succeed. There's a bunch of benefits that come. So we're gonna test it here, right? Fair? Any questions about that? Okay. No questions? That's it? That's all you got? Okay. Derek's heard this already. So Angie's just kind of looking at whatever. All right. Lee's totally listening to music. She's not listening to this at all, which I totally don't blame you, Lee. I got it. I do want to talk to you just really quickly about the value component of coaching and why, like, what's the commitment level that goes into making this available to you all? And really, I'll be honest with you, it really has very little to do with selling you. It's more because what we see is we see really only about 25 to 30% of the agents within our organization that actually engage in coaching. And for somebody who believes that it's their job in life to help others succeed, that's a challenge for me personally, because what that means is that there are 70 to 75% of the people, and listen, many of them are very successful without any support on the coaching side from us, but there's a big chunk of people who I feel like are missing out. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys. You've already heard part of the stats, right? I want to give you some sort of the value pitch, if you will, so that if you're having a conversation or you're interacting with another agent in your office that's having a struggle, that you can maybe encourage them to be in coaching. I'm not really sure why people don't engage in coaching, and we're doing a Facebook Live, so hopefully some people can get a feel for what it is that we're doing. Maybe I'll talk to them here in a second, but I want you to be able to talk to it. All right, so here's my pitch. So aside from the time and all the effort that Derek has put into it, and the coaches have put into making sure that they're prepared and trained and all of that stuff, aside from all the time that actually takes, because keep in mind, 10 clients, 10 of you agents, that's 5 solid hours. That does not include preparing for you or anything. That's 5 solid hours of coaching for just you, right? All of the stuff that goes in it, if I were to sort of bring that back to a Tom Ferry-ish kind of coaching and what you would pay for that, I kind of morphed it. Like it would be sort of halfway in between what they call, I don't know, there's one that's 2 and one that's 4, right? So I sort of put it in the middle. It'd be somewhere between $900 and $1,000 a month. Obviously, we pay for it. Like it's all on us. But if you think about that for a second, we have over 250 agents. That's if we put that at 900,000, it's over $200,000 a month in coaching that we're offering for free to all of the agents, just to help them achieve their goals. Think about that for a second. In a 6-month period, it's over $1 million worth of coaching value, and the numbers speak for themselves. If you're coached by Todd, it's somewhere around 50%. If you're coached by the managing directors, it's somewhere between 300 and 500% increase in what they make. I would love to see more people taking advantage of the coaching. So there's my 2 cents there. Okay, so who has, well, let's see, did everybody see the Facebook Live that I posted this morning where I asked you, hey, give us some ideas as to what you're interested in from a masterminding perspective? Yeah? Okay, great. Mark? All right, so the mastermind piece of this is going to be much more interactive. My feeling is this: if you're having a challenge in your business, somebody else is having it. Likely a bunch of somebody's are having the same challenge, right? So this is about you saying, hey, I'm having a challenge with, right? I've got a bunch. I wrote them up here so that we can make sure that we check some of these off the list. But from a masterminding perspective, this is a contact sport. Like, this is all of us together. This is not about me giving you answers. This is about you all sharing with each other answers to common struggles. Fair? Okay. So with that in mind, shall we get started? Okay. So the very first one, well, let's see. I've got, let's do this backwards. Who's dealing with multiple offers? Anybody dealing with multiple offers in their marketplace right now? I got 2 people. Oh, well, we got more. Okay. All right. So everybody unmute yourselves. Be nice. All right. And let's have a conversation about multiple offers. What are you doing to properly manage the expectations and prepare your buyers for the event that they end up in a multiple offer competitive scenario? And how are you helping them through the emotional process once they actually end up liking a property that's likely to have multiple offers? Managing
Well, I know I tell
expectations.
my people right away that, you know, they're walking into that situation right up front. And then I explain to them how it all works before we even start going into houses and looking at them. So they're prepared to either come in higher or know they're going to miss out if they don't in most instances.
How does that conversation go? Can you treat me like I'm your client? Walk me through that.
Hey, Todd, you know, I see that you're at this 165 range. Well, I can tell you right now that 165 to probably 250, we're looking at multiple offers on properties that are like 7 to 10 offers. So when we go into this house and we start looking, you need to keep in mind that you're not the only one on the board with them. And I want to be able to help you know that when you want this property, that we put the offer in right away and we don't wait and think about it.
Okay. Anybody else dealing with multiple offers? How are you managing expectations?
In our market right now, most properties are being sold for 95% or more of asking price. And if it's actually priced well, then you know you're going in automatically to a multiple offer situation. So I always let my clients know that right off the bat. Usually your best and highest offer is going to be the best thing you can do. Especially if it's first-time home buyers, who we all know are a little gun shy, and it takes them a few properties to miss out on before they realize how it works. So I try to eliminate that and get them going right away.
Love it. Anybody else have any nuggets for managing expectations on the front side?
I haven't done it with a buyer in quite a long time. Mostly I've done it with sellers, but the last time I did with a buyer, I just outlined how an escalator clause works and told them that they should have a discussion as to what they're comfortable with for their highest price for that property. And then
who else is using escalator clauses? So Rick just mentioned the escalator clause. Who else is using that? Mark? Anybody else? Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to share any tidbits on that? Anybody want to ask any questions? Here's a better one. Anybody want to ask any questions on that?
Yeah. Do you go up on your escalator clause? Do you go that you will beat the best offer by 500,000, 100? What are your dollar amounts that you're putting in your escalation clause?
It depends on the list price. It depends on the comfortability level and interest level of my clients. But, you know, say on a $500,000 house and there's multiple offers. And I'll just say, you know, if they really, really want this house and they're financially pretty solid, you know, I'll say, are you comfortable, what's your number? Let's just say their number's 515. They're comfortable going $15,000 over ask. Then the language I would put in is purchase price to be $1,000 above best and highest offer to a purchase price of $515,000.
And
Does that
then,
make sense?
To a
Does that make sense to you?
yeah, when I've done it, my clients, and I understand where they're coming from, they get a little nervous. How do they know what the highest and best are the sellers working them? Do you ask for verification of that?
Oh yeah, you got very.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going in blind. That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. I think, and Becky, I think what you're talking about is clients feeling like they're sort of negotiating against themselves.
Yes, very much.
Yeah. And we get that a lot. And I've talked to a lot of agents that feel exactly the same way. It really comes down to your comfort level explaining the process to a client. So if you are in a competitive marketplace and you think that having an escalator clause in your back pocket is a way to win more for your client, you've got to establish expectations up front, right? This is all about managing expectations. So thanks, Rick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some other ways to manage expectations? I mean, aside from the normals, right? We've got, are you pre-qualified? That's kind of a no-brainer, right? Right. And
I mean, just like what Adam said, just give the stats. Just let them know. It's 98.5% of list price. You can't just go in and lowball offers. I know you watch all these shows on HGTV and want to find a sweet deal, but we're just not in that kind of market. Be able to explain days on market for a specific neighborhood that they're looking in or a specific area, and you're able to say, hey, this part of Grand Junction is very popular. These houses are going to go pretty quick, or this part is not as popular. Maybe you can get away with putting something a little bit lower in, but just giving all the stats and the information that they need.
I even take it from the MLS directly. I'll show the recent sales in that area, and I'll give it to them on a summary sheet with pictures sometimes so they can see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
I think it's more getting them to understand that, it's not just based on our schedule and accommodating to them, but they need to be willing and ready too. So I emphasize that with all my buyers that, if you're not ready to look right now, you're going to lose. So I just have them be ready and Johnny on the spot.
Yeah. I think where I see most of the struggles for agents in the multiple offer world is that they have all of the information in their head. They're having a hard time getting it out, right? And maybe they get it out at the wrong time. They forget to go through the step of qualifying and interviewing the buyer, which, again, folks, we're in sales. We are salespeople. We all know the sales process, right? We've got to find a suspect. We've got to interview them to determine whether or not they're a prospect. Once they're a prospect, we go out and find the property for them. Once we find the property, we can present the property to them. And then we close. Is this the right house for you? Yes or no? If it's yes, then we write the offer, we close. If it's no, we go back to the interview phase, right? But it always starts with the interview. We've got to do a great job of understanding what a buyer is really looking for. Every single person on this call has had somebody call or tell them, oh, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house that's ended up buying, a 4-bedroom, blah, blah. Everybody in this call has had somebody tell them that they're willing to pay this price and then have gone completely, wacky. Some of us have had that happen to them where they bought it through a different real estate agent because they weren't getting shown the properties that really met what they were looking for because we didn't ask all of the right questions, right? Me being one of them, right? So much of what we need to be doing is on the front side, doing a proper interview, doing a proper expectation sort of review. But you got to know how to say it. You got to know how to do it. So this is where that role play and scripts and dialogues really do play a major role. in whether or not you guys succeed or struggle on that, right? So once you've established somebody's expectations, that these are all of the things you need to do to prepare yourself to be a buyer, and then, oh, by the way, there's a strong likelihood that we're going to end up with multiple offers. So you're going to need to make sure that you know exactly what your highest price that you're willing to go at, right? And not be upset that you lost it. Have the discussion with you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your partner, whatever it is, to make sure that we know whether or not we're even open to doing an escalator clause or what have you, right? Whether or not we're willing to go with a cash offer. Like, are you 100% sure? You know, in some of our resort markets, we were just having this conversation with the other group. One of the issues that we've got is, you know, we got people who they can write a check, like they can literally go to the bank and go, here's $3 million, like here you go. But a lot of them, they don't do that because money's so cheap. They go, well, you know, I'm going to do a loan and da 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 da. Having the conversation with somebody early on to say, hey, listen, while you may after the fact get a cash out refi, are you prepared to go all cash? Making sure all these questions are answered in advance might help a ton to get a deal done. So once you have a property that you've identified, outside just the escalator clause, which is a good one, are there any other tricks that you all are implementing, deploying, that are winning for you in multiple offers?
One thing I tend to say to my clients.
And who is this?
This is Marion from Bozeman.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Is that, you know, we're going into this, you need to give us your best and final, but it needs to be a price that you're willing to walk away from if you don't get it. It kind of helps. Okay, we didn't get it. We knew we were willing to walk away for that. So it's just kind of an easy way to help with their emotional side of it.
Right.
Just to, you know, hey, we didn't get it for this price. We already knew we were willing to walk away for that.
Good.
Help keep moving forward a little easier.
Great.
Todd, this is Angie from Bozeman.
Hi, Angie.
So I still go for the heartstrings because I feel like sellers still have some, and I'll have my buyers write a personal letter of why they want the house. And sometimes
like
it works
that.
and sometimes it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
but I still, you know, when we can't do anything else, I still use that.
I love that. That's a great one. Anybody else?
See, I've done letters before as well, and bouncing off what Jimmy Krieger was talking about before, is he's done a video kind of revealing how they previewed the home and just their feelings on raising their family and home and everything, and he just said that video helped him out a lot.
That's great.
I had my granddaughter write a letter to the sellers, and they had a $5,000 higher offer, and they took their offer because of her letter. She was 10.
That's great.
So
That's awesome.
we were advised in our office that was not in our client's best interest to be doing anymore, because we could be sharing information that could potentially allow the seller to discriminate against the client. So there was like a letter that went out to the state of Colorado through NAR or CAR, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any feedback on that?
Yeah, and it's gonna. I have some, so I'll give you mine and open it up for everybody else. You know, one of the things that you're gonna see as we go through some of these other questions, I'm not buying the house, and I'm not selling the house. It's not my choice, right? Here are some things that have worked for some other clients, right? If somebody wants to pay what I think is, you know, a boatload over, Pam Colesworthy and I just had this conversation, right? We just had this situation last week where we had a client that she was working with who was prepared to pay well over what she and I thought the property was worth. And we had to remind each other of this. Hey, it's not my money. It's not my money. It's the client. We gave him the information, and, you know, I don't even know if he asked, to be honest with you, but if he would have asked, I would have told him, and and we got him comfortable with what we thought the valuation was based on the numbers, and he was willing to do something different. Good for him. But yeah, I hear you, Lee. I think that really comes down to, if I shouldn't be the one writing the letter, right? It should be the buyer, and we should have the conversation. Hey, listen, make sure you don't divulge any information that might put you in a weaker position from a negotiation standpoint. But like, I'm with Angie, like, there's nothing more powerful than sharing, hey, listen, my daughter loves your daughter's room. Like, we wouldn't do anything to it. It's perfect. The swimming pool will be fit. Like, you know, like, there's just nothing better than that. That's so legit.
Cool.
Anybody else? All right, so should we move on? Who wants to pick one here? Jeannie, what are we doing next?
How about seller leads?
Seller leads. All right, so who is getting seller leads? What are some ways that y'all are getting seller leads?
Referrals.
Referrals. Okay, so how are you doing that?
I become intentional about asking each client that I stay in touch with to let me know if there's anyone specifically that I could help buy or sell. And you'd be surprised at how many times I get referrals by asking the question.
Yeah. So can you walk us through? Pretend I'm a client. You're calling me. What are you saying to him?
Well, I've already established that I'm the person that they're going to refer business to.
Okay.
But just, hey, Todd, if our market is actually really hot right now, and we're low on inventory. So is there anybody from your school? Because you've got kids, that's why I would ask that. Is there anybody at your school that's looking to buy or sell right now, like going through divorces or looking for a move, to make them think specifically about, to really make them think. That's one way.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, this is Kristen. I always go back to for sale by owners.
Sale by owners. Okay, walk us through. What are you doing? How do you do for sale by owners? Because a lot of people on this call, Kristen, they're like, oh, hell no. I'm not calling those people.
Hell no.
Right?
I'm one of the few people that use Zillow to the point where I feel I get something out of it by going through the make me moves and the for sale by owners. Calling them, I go right down the old Tom Ferry script pretty much. If I can't get a listing appointment, I try to at least get some type of face-to-face with them.
Good for you. Awesome. But folks, there are people all across the country in every kind of market you can think of that are doing those make me moves, and they're killing it.
And the make me moves, a lot of people don't call on, so it's something that, a lot of the for sale by owners, they're getting calls, but the make me moves, they're not calling on.
That's great.
What is a make me move?
Yeah, great question.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Yeah, we don't know what that is.
Okay, Kristen, go.
On Zillow, if you go onto Zillow and you click on the listings, there is listings that are listed with an agent, with for sale by owner, possible foreclosures, and then they have a section called Make Me Move. And so that's somebody can go ahead and put up if they're thinking about moving. They'll put on like a price that they're kind of interested in getting in, but they haven't actually formally made themselves as a for sale by owner.
Oh. Wow.
Okay. I actually walked up to somebody's door because one of my buyers was interested in the house and knocked on it, and now I'm trying to work a deal. They're like, okay.
Yeah. That's fantastic, right? I love it. Okay. Anybody else? What are some other ways that you're generating leads right now for listings?
I sat down with Janine a while ago, and she twisted my arm into doing handwritten notes to all of my clients, which I had absolutely no interest in doing. And it was a really good practice, and I got some great information from some of the clients.
Right.
What did your notes say?
My notes were basically a check-in, and they were giving them a little bit of a quick update on me and what was going on, and asking them, a little bit about what was going on in their life and how they're doing.
Todd, this is Lindsay from
Hi, Lindsay.
Junction. Hey, so I think something when it comes to past clients that I found that is useful is doing pop buys. I did some at Christmas. I made like a little goodie bag and dropped it off. And then I don't know how this is going to work yet, but I'm doing some door knocking this weekend in neighborhoods where they'll be in a competitive price point in our market, kind of that 225, 250 and under. Just bringing market stats always brings something of value. I've noticed when you're doing something like that, but I can let you know how that works. But I think for me, the biggest network for me are friends and family and referrals from past clients.
Okay. Anybody else?
Facebook, I've posted a few times on there, what's your house worth, looking to sell, just different things. Haven't got much response though.
Are you doing organic or are you boosting?
Todd, I don't know how to boost, so it must be organic.
Okay. Oh, that's why I asked.
I boost, and I do it with asking, doing advertisement, like buyer advertisements. I have a buyer looking for a house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and then it just gets the chain going.
That's great. Love it. That's awesome. So when you're boosting, how are you narrowing it down? Like, how are you picking your spot?
Well, that's the great thing about Facebook is you can be very specific. So usually my go-to can just be Bozeman, where I'm at, in the surrounding area. But sometimes, depending on what it is they're looking for, I'll be very specific to a certain subdivision or neighborhood. Also, size of the yard, just the different descriptions of the house that my clients are looking for. And then it just gets the ball rolling. And then people who maybe don't even fit that just assume that maybe you have a buyer for their place. So they'll call you and say, I have a 5-bedroom home. Do you have any buyers for it? And then.
That's great. Okay. Anybody else? How else are you generating leads? What's the number one lead source for any real estate agent?
Sphere.
That's right. Past client sphere of influence. Again, we know the stats, scary stats, like ridiculous, like, whatever, 150% of all people would use their agent again, and like 1% do, or maybe it's 87 and 11, but whatever, you know what I'm talking about. That's the place. That's the place to start. The people that know and love you already, like that's the problem is we forget to ask them, right? We get uncomfortable, and I, I've worked one-on-one with many of you on this call, so we can wink. We're the only ones that have a problem picking the phone up, but it's a common deal. We got to get over it. But those that are doing it, those that are using the scripts and dialogues, they're making the phone calls to their past client and sphere of influence, and they're doing it on a regular basis. When you call and you have a conversation with them that's like, hey, listen, they're like, hey, how are you? I'm good, but holy shit, I've sold all my listings. Like, I'm freaking out. I need listings. Do you know anybody who's maybe even like halfway considering? Like, I'll take anything, like a divorce, a death in the family, like anything. Do you know anybody? Because I've talked to them every month for the last 6 months, it doesn't come out like I'm a cheese ball agent just looking for you to do something for me today, right? If they're getting my messaging from my CRM, I was interesting. Nobody on the call said anything about a CRM, right? That's a big one on the list. People are sending stuff out to their past client sphere of influence, and then others that are in their CRM with similar messaging. All the messaging has really been wrapped around either what's the value of your home, the market has changed, I just changed the value of your home, like shock and awe ads, or very specific. I heard a really good one just a second ago that was they're sending out postcards, but the postcard was like a photo of the family kind of thing, saying, hey, listen, this family is looking to live in your neighborhood. I thought that was really cool. Or mail drops that, handwritten notes, letters saying, hey, listen, here are the properties that recently sold. Unfortunately, I've got some buyers who missed out on these opportunities. They really want to be in your neighborhood. I'm really reaching out sort of as a last ditch effort. Do you know anybody that might be considering selling their home? Those are very powerful messaging, but it's all call to action. So those are going very well. You have to follow those up though. Like those aren't working really well unless you're also following it up with knocking on the door or making phone calls. There's a bunch of products that are out there right now for what they call circle dialing. But the one that seems to be working both in resort and traditional markets is the Cole Realty Resource. That seems to be the one that's working for both. So I know that's been a real challenge for us in the resort markets. The thing doesn't work so well. So that's been.
What's the name of that? I couldn't tell if you said cold or Cole or what.
COLE.
Okay.
Realty Resource.
Thanks.
Yep, my pleasure. The other is so past client sphere of influence without question, number one, and getting very specific about the farm and getting in there and getting your hands dirty. Like, folks, here's the thing, right? Inventory's lower, competition's higher, right? There's not less agents in the marketplace, number one, and number two, there's more agents that are also hungry in the marketplace. So you've got to be willing to do more than the average agent. Third on the list that I'm seeing working is social media, definitely, but it's all very call to action oriented. Each of you on your website have what's the value of your home. They're driving people to that. Drive. I just sold this, it changed the value of your home. This property just changed the value of your home. And I think it was a Rhonda that I saw an ad that was like, find out the value of your home in under 10 seconds. So they're all call to actions. You have to be prepared to respond quickly, right? Anybody else? Is anybody doing, besides you, Adam, anybody else doing boosted ads?
I am.
Okay.
And
so walk us through what you're doing and how it's working.
Well, there are two things that I'm doing. One is the AdWorks ads, if anybody's familiar and seen those. And yeah. We're actually testing two different ads on AdWorks. One is me and how can I help you? And the other is what is the value of my home? And it shows a nice picture of a house. The what is the value of my home works a lot. And so I'm getting a lot of hits to the website. They get there though to the landing page and it stops. So people are not taking it to the next level of actually, because when you click on that, then you have to give some information and people stop short of that. So they may be doing it directly on Zillow, but they're not doing it on our website. But that's okay, because the other thing that we're doing is A/B testing. And actually there's 3 different ads that we're doing as a luxury ad, as a Pam Colesworthy ad, and then as the family home ad.
and to see what the reaction is on that and the amount of engagement. And here's a cool thing, because I just met with my media person on this. They are spending 53 seconds on the website, which I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's a lot of time for a click-through. Now, I'm not getting a whole lot of information and a whole lot of leads, but people are spending enough time to find out about me, or maybe watching my video or something else. So my awareness in the marketplace has shot up dramatically.
Dramatically.
How much of that translates into money in my pocket today? Nothing.
Yeah.
But
all right, so let me ask you a question. So when somebody goes to your website, the first thing they do, right? Because the way that thing works is they have to put in the address of the property, right?
Right.
So what are you doing? So what you're saying is they're going to your website, they're putting in the information about what the property is, they're clicking submit. The next page says, where do you want the valuation sent to, right? That's where you have to put your name and phone number or email address, right?
Right.
And you're saying they bounce before they complete that step.
Right.
So what are you doing with the information that you gather that it's 123 Oak Street?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not even sure that they've gotten that far, because I'm not getting any notifications.
Okay. You need to check. Is this the IQ website, the ones that we have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's there. You need to figure out where it's going, because the way it's set up is that people can bounce, but not without giving you the address that they're interested in the value on.
Okay. All right, good.
Okay.
So there's there's one other little piece. That's okay. Doesn't matter.
You sure?
Well, it may come to me. Oh, here's what I wanted to say.
Senior moment.
Two things did happen. I have 2 buyers as a result.
Ooh.
So exactly how that happened, I'm not sure, but 2 buyers have found my listings, decided that I was cool, and decided they wanted to work with me on those listings. Now, they haven't bought those listings. We're looking at other things. It didn't all come together, but nevertheless, I got 2 buyers out of it.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
She's known as Pam Coolsworthy in our office.
No, wait a minute, I thought I was noteworthy.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
You're always just all sorts of worthy.
Okay. So, any other seller leads? Everybody get some value out of that? Okay.
10 minutes,
All right.
Todd.
Yep, gotcha. Thank you. All right, so we've got multiple offers. We did that. Price to sell, net versus gross, and I'm afraid to put my property on the market because I'm not sure if I'm going to find the right property as a replacement. Jeannie, why don't you pick for us? Oh wait, you just picked. Never mind, you can't do that. Shannon, why don't you pick for us?
Let's go with price to sell.
Price to sell. Okay. So this very specifically was, I have a client and they know the market is hot and they want to price the property over what I think it's worth because, like, maybe, right? Maybe. Okay. Anybody else dealing with this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just lost a listing on that.
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? So we all have this. And in the last group, one of the gals said, well, so I have a story for you. She goes, I just told the client that, I thought they needed to be at this price. They gave me some wacko number. And so I agreed to do it. They agreed that if it didn't get, X number of showings or offer or whatever it was within a certain period of time, that we would reduce it down to the number that I chose. She goes, so we put it on. We got multiple showings, like 15 showings in 3 days, multiple offers, sold over ask price of the ask price that was insane, right? According to the agent. Has anybody on this call ever been wrong?
No.
Yeah.
87.
Yeah. Yeah, back in 87. That's funny. I made this one choice. I don't want to hear. So, but here's the thing, right? It's not your asset, right? So I would tell you, and I know I have probably an outlier opinion on this. I'll give it to you, and then you guys can share what you all think. In my world, it's not my asset. I'm here to consult. I'm here to provide you with as much information as possible so that you can make the absolute best decisions on positioning your property to sell that you want. Now, part of that goes back to establishing those expectations. Remember that conversation we were talking about the first thing, right? With the multiple offers? Part of that is establishing expectations. I might want to know, like, Keenan, you want to sell your house. What are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to move to, you know, I don't know, Denver. Okay, great. So you're going to move to Denver. So when would you like to be living in Denver? Oh, I want to be, you know, living in Denver in 90 days. All right, wonderful. All right, so here's all of the information. Let me provide all of that information to you so that you can best make the determination where you want to price the property, right? Let's do the math. Right now, the average days on the market is 37 days in Keenan's market, okay? So 37 days, so there's 90 days. Let's do the math backwards, right? So how many days do we really have to sell the house, to get an accepted offer?
I have one, but you can't hear me.
I can hear you.
53 days.
53 days, thank you. So 53 days. So how long, we know that means I get photos taken, I got to get postcards, I got to get marketed. Like there's a bunch of shit that's got to happen, right? And then I got to, do the open house, and then I got to start negotiating. I got to get the offer, and then I got to negotiate that offer. I got to do all these things. Like 53 days goes pretty fast, doesn't it? So how much time do I really have? How long is it going to take you to do all of the marketing and do it correctly? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks. All right, so now we're down to what? 39 days? Boy, 39 days is not very much time. So I'm of the belief that I'm to give you the information, and then I say, okay, Keenan, based on the information that's been provided, based on the fact that we really have 39 days to make this all happen, what price would you like to price the property at, right? And I get that price, and I say, okay, so here's step 2. Over what period of time do we want to test this before we get back together and discuss changing the price?
2 weeks.
Weeks, yeah.
Right. Okay. So you hear it all, but again, it's all made. Well, 30 days. Okay. So what you're saying is we'll change the price in 30 days. That it gives us only 9 days then to get an acceptable offer. Is that enough? Well, probably not. Okay. So what would you like? You understand that the point is, number one, I'm there to establish clear expectations ahead of time. If I haven't done a proper interview of the client, then I don't really know what it is that they're trying to accomplish. If I do the proper interview in advance, I have a very clear picture of what the urgency, the necessity, the emotion, the why behind selling the property to begin with. Once I do that, I then give them the information and let them position the property the way they want to. Does anybody else do it that way? Anybody else have any better ideas? I'm sure you got better ideas. Anybody want to share some better ideas?
Well, I do the similar thing with making expectations that if we list high, that within a certain time period, we're going to reassess that. And can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
Okay. But I also discuss with them that it's not myself, it's not the seller, it's actually the buyers that actually pick the price, the value of the home. It's always the buyers that pick the value of the home.
Okay. And I'm getting a text here. So Jeremy, you want to share that with us, bud?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I just had a client text me during the meeting here that they were going to use me as their agent, but another agent suggested a higher list price. And basically just what you said, the market's suggesting the list price that I suggested, but it's their asset, and it's kind of how long they want to own the property for. So I mean, I'm open to that. I'm open to giving them the information, and they can look at it and make that judgment on their own. But I really want to push for that if we're not getting a lot of activity or showings or offers or anything like that within the first 2 weeks, that then the list price is going to be changed to X amount, and just kind of some repercussions if we're not getting their home sold. So getting it up to before it's actually on the market.
Right.
Todd?
Somebody on the other call suggested that hey, Christy, just one second, suggested that they even have it in writing in advance, right? So we list it. The price is 600,000, but I've got a addendum that's already signed that's at 550, and it's got a date on it. So I thought that was kind of a clever idea. Yeah, Christy, how are you?
I was going to say that exact same thing. So,
Nice.
There you go.
So
Nice
what
job.
I've done on a couple of condos that I've just recently sold, is I built it directly into the marketing agreement.
Yeah,
We have, I say, if we are not getting the attention that we want as evidenced by showings or offers, price will be reduced to X on such and such date. And some of them I have 2 and 3 different dates where they drop incrementally down. So it's built in, and that saves me from having that conversation. All of our markets are a little bit different, and especially here, some of your guys' places turn pretty quickly. So you're talking about a 2-week window. It could be months for us. But the other thing is that listings are expensive. So I don't want to have a high price listing. I've had plenty of them, believe me. But I don't want to have one that I'm sitting on and paying for indefinitely because the price, the buyer or the seller can't get real about what their home is really worth. So anyway, I find that
again, you guys,
to build
so
it in.
much of this is the interview. So much of this is establishing expectations early on, and so many of us forget to do that, right? Like if we have a conversation,
some of us forget to do it. Some of us forget to do it, but some of us do it and they don't listen.
Well, no, but what I mean is, like, if I have a conversation and I'm like, Shannon, you want to be gone in 6 months, like what happens? What's plan B, right? And folks, this is why these strips and dialogues are so important. If you are not a master of the language, you are losing, right? Especially right now when the opportunities that we get are so much fewer and the competition is so much higher, right? We got to really be even better to guard against what Christy's talking about, because she's right. Like, it's expensive, right? And the reality is, if I have a conversation with Shannon and I find out from Shannon that plan B is, well, I don't really have to sell, right? So plan B is I'm just going to take it off the market and I'll rent it and that kind of stuff. You got to ask yourself the question, if she wants to list it for $1 million and it's worth $750, and plan B is, if I don't get $1 million, is I'm just going to do, like, piss off, right? Not about you, but I'm out. Like, I know Chrissy'd be like, see ya.
Yeah.
I'm going to, listen, we've got 2 minutes left. I want to wrap this up. There really are 2 things. Number one, the masterminding, as you can see, this session is going to be very interactive. I want to make sure that we're hitting stuff that really is important to you, okay? So I need you all to send emails. Send them to me, send them to Derek, send me a text. I'm going to keep a running list of the topics that you all really want to talk about, all right? That's what it's all about. We'll spend the hour. Like I said, some of them will be, company-wide. Some of them will be very specific to this group and this group alone, right? Any questions about that? I make sure I just got, is that you, Pam? Were you sending me something? Okay. All right. So if there are no questions, what? Did somebody have a question?
I just wanted to make one final comment on that, Todd. One of those that I did that on, I was wrong. And all I can say is I'll be wrong all day long,
right.
If I'm getting a higher price, but just wanted to acknowledge that as well. It just happened to have a run on these and we sold it at that highest tier and that was really cool too.
Yeah. And it happens. And again, I was like Rick, I got frustrated because I lost a couple of listings to people who gave wrong prices, right? And of course, it's one thing to give the wrong price in in a traditional market where things are happening very quickly. It's a very different thing to give the wrong price or lose it in the resort markets, because what was happening is you'd give a price, somebody else would give one that's $100,000 more, and they were wrong. The property doesn't sell for 10 months. With 2 months left on the listing agreement, they drop it down to the price that we had recommended to begin with, and they'd sell it for less than we thought they'd sell it for. And guess what? I was the most underpaid right guy on the planet. And I wanted to be wrong more often. Right? So, all right, y'all. Thank you very much. Go kick some ass, be distinctive, and let me know what we can do to help you.